right? All right.
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. So we will install Anaconda today, and then Jupyter Notebook Basics. Once we complete it, then we will start Python Basics. Okay. Let's start with Anaconda installation. Basically, Anaconda, when you install Anaconda, so it comes with Python, along with it comes with basic packages, Python related packages, or modules you call it as, right? And the Jupyter Notebook is the ID that we use. And there is an alternative one, that is Visual Code. So for now, it's not necessary. We will stick to Jupyter Notebook for basics, I mean for at least for 2 to 3 weeks. And then we'll move on to Visual Code. Python is, in fact, the core language, programming language that we use in this course. Of course, there are other alternatives like JavaScript, C, C++, Java, etc. But Python is the most preferred language compared to any other, because there are many libraries or frameworks that are available. Something that is not really as comprehensive as in Python. I mean to say, when we compare it with other languages like C, C++, Java, wherein you need to build your own stuff. Whereas in Python, you have a lot of modules, something in almost 90% of the cases, you don't really require to rewrite the code. You can simply import the libraries or frameworks. You can start utilizing it. Okay. So we'll start with Anaconda installation. If you already installed Anaconda, that's fine. But if you have installed only Python, I request you to uninstall it and restart the machine and then start installing Anaconda. So here you can see Anaconda installation, download Anaconda distribution, right? Click on that. You need to provide your email ID and then click on this checkbox, click on submit. And here you have this download option, right? So you need to click, basically like, if you're using Windows, you can click on this installer. If you're using Mac, based on the kind of processor that you use, you need to click one of this. So for Intel chip, 2019 or older machines used Intel chip, Intel processor, whereas after 2008, from 2020 onwards, they start utilizing, using Apple silicon, Apple processors, that is M1, M2, M4 processors. So you can, based on, so I request you to install graphical installer, not command line installers. So here I'm going to click on this graphical installer because I'm using Windows machine. Those who are using Mac, if you have any difficulty, let me know. They already installed here, so I'm going to click on this one. I mean, I already downloaded it, so I'm going to install it now. So just click on this one, once. Don't try to keep on clicking on this exe because it takes some time to open this window. Okay, just double click once. That's all. Click next. Click on I agree. Click on all users. Click on next. And here, basically, it install in this particular folder. So don't try to change this path, at least for now. In my machine, I already installed Anaconda. So you can find a lot of, and you can find all the binaries here, Anaconda binaries. So here, don't make any changes here. But in my case, as I already installed in my machine, in order to show you the next step, so I'm going to add one. But in your case, you not to make any change. Just leave it as it is. Click on next simply. Okay. and uncheck this one, click OK, click on this one. So you need to check these two checkboxes and click install. So once you click install, I'm going to install completely. Documentation. Let me show you how it's going to be. So you have seen up to here, right? You need to click on install and then you'll get a window like this, some progress bar. And then you need to click on next after it got completed. Right? And then you need to click on next again and then click finish. In order to check any of these boxes, you can uncheck it if it's already been checked, right? So once you have completed the installation, there's one more thing that you have to follow. Honda environment variables. You need to add these 5 paths to the environment variables. In the case of Mac, you don't require to add it. In the case of Windows, you have to add to the environment variables. So you basically need to search for environment. So edit the system environment variables. Click on environment variables. Here you have a path, right? The same way you have another path here. To scroll down, here you can see there are two paths. This is user specific. This is basically if irrespective of the user, I can utilize this. So basically the system variables, system paths. You know, double click and you need to click on new and keep adding it. So copy, click on new and keep adding it. You need to keep, you need to keep on adding in the all the 5 paths. Right? In my case, I already added it, so I'm going to delete this one. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All the 5 paths been added. Click on OK. The same way, you need to make changes to this one also, path. Click new and keep on adding one by one. Don't try to add all together at once, right? One by one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All the 5 paths been added. Click OK, click OK, click OK, and restart the mission. Once you restart the mission, I will provide you Python files. So in zip format. So it's going to, after you unzip it, you're going to get files like this, right? So make sure that whatever the files that I share to you, it's all been stored in one common path. And it is better to have a dedicated drive, at least 300 to 500 gigs of free space. Okay. Click on blank space and click open in terminal. If you don't get this open in terminal option, copy this path, search for terminal, open it, cd space the path. You can see you got into the path. What is important here is you need to get into this path. So here I'm going to click on open in terminal. That will make sure it will get, it will open the terminal with the same path that we are in right now. And then you need to enter Jupyter Space Notebook. So JUPY, it is not JUPI, JUPYT, yeah, Space Notebook. So if you install Anaconda properly and restart the machine with by after adding all the paths and restart the machine, you will definitely get a browser automatically get open. You can see a browser will be open. In some case, it may not open this browser window automatically. In such case, you need to go to this terminal back again. Here you can see localhost 888 something like that. You need to hold Control key and then click once. It will definitely open in browser. Okay, so you already open it here, right? So you can see that this is Jupyter Notebook. Basically, this browser-based Jupyter IDE. If you want to open any of these files, just double click on it. It will get open. So all the notes has been provided to you. So in order to bother in preparing your own notes, you can simply utilize this file. So you can see that there is something called IPYNB. So this is an extension specific to Jupyter Notebook. Earlier, previously it used to be called as IPython Notebook. Now they rename it to Jupyter because they have added many other languages. I mean, they added language support to JavaScript, Ruby, and other languages. apart, not just Python anymore. So, but they have kept this extension intact. Still, you can see IPYNB, but it's actually Jupyter Notebook. So I'm going to open a new one. So you can see demo one here. This is my working notebook, working notes notebook. Let me explain a few Jupyter Notebook shortcuts. If you want to create a new Jupyter Notebook, here you can see new. You need to click on Python thing. You can see a new Jupyter Notebook has been created. If you want to change the title, just click on this title and my notebook new. So this is a new Jupyter Notebook that I want to create, rename. You can see that it has been renamed. Right? Now this is cell block. There are two things mainly, code and markdown. Code is for to execute code, to write code. Whereas markdown is for documentation or to add titles. For example, 2 plus 3, I'm going to execute it, right? In order to execute a block, you have to use shift enter. You need to hold shift key and then enter. So I'm going to hold shift and then enter. You can see that it has been executed. Right? 2 plus 3 is 5, right? And once it has been executed, it has created a new block. Earlier it wasn't there. Let me execute this again. 2 plus 4, shift enter. If there is no other block after this, it's going to create a new one. If there is there's a block immediately after it, it will move on to the next one. It will not create a new one. So that is how shift enter works. So basically, we use it in code block, even in Markdown, to execute the code. So 2 plus 5 and 7, we got the output and it has moved to the next one. There is another way to execute uh, the code, that is control enter. Let me write, let's go 2 plus 7. If I use control enter, it is going to execute and it's going to show you the output, and the focus is on the same cell, right? It has not moved to the next one. So when at times, if you want to keep on executing the same code block, then you need to use control enter, right? There is another shortcut to execute the code. Let me explain another shortcut, escape A and escape B. So escape A, basically, if you want to create a new block right above this one, the current one, escape A. The reason why we press escape is, let's see that the focus is right now is inside this code block, right? If I press escape, it's going to be on top of this code block. That is important to execute these commands. So escape A, I'm going to press it again, escape A. It has created a new block. And if you want to create a new block right below the current one, wherever the focus is on, escape B. You can see escape B. It's going to keep on creating new blocks, right? There are 3 ways to create new blocks. One, shift enter automatically creates if there is no other new block right after we execute the current one. The other one is escape A creates right above the current one, right? And escape B is going to create right below the current one, right? And then what else? So suppose if you want to delete it, right? You can use DD. And these are all case insensitive. So it can be small case or uppercase. Let's say that you want to delete this block. Escape DD. So I'm going to delete DD, right? It's going to keep on deleting it. It's going to be very handy. And there is another one, markdown. Let's say that you want to write code. Let's 2 plus 8. This is an addition. You want to add title to this, right? Let's take addition. If you exclude this, it will throw error because addition, there is no such variable called addition. So basically, whatever I write it in the code block, it assumes that it is a variable. If you want to add titles, you need to convert this into markdown. So the shortcut to convert code block to markdown is escape M. You can see escape M. There is another one, escape Y. We'll see in short while. So basically, it has been converted to markdown. You can see that Of course, you can go here and change it, but always it's always better to remember the shortcuts, practice the shortcuts. Okay, keep on going to menu and executing it will take. It's going to be time consuming, long run. And let's say that you want to add title, so you need to add a hash. Otherwise, it's going to be considered as normal text. Now you can see that we haven't got any error because it's a markdown cell, not code cell. But if you want to add proper titles, you need to add a hash. Now you can see proper title being added. If you want to add much smaller, let's say, not for comparison, you can go up to 6 levels. We should not go beyond 6, but we'll try it. Let's see what happens. So if you go beyond 6, it's going to consider as normal text. So you can till now you can see till this point heading 6 you can see it has been considered as head. Based on the requirement, you have to use one of the titles. Usually, one Jupyter notebook will should have to have one hash heading. I mean the bigger heading. The remaining all should be used for subheadings, subheadings kind of. In order to write as a normal text, let's take this is generative AI course. I can write text like that. Let's say that you want to add a new line. Let's take that. This includes machine learning and deep learning too. It's all being turned into one line, right? One sentence. In such case, what you can do is you can add a break. So you can see that it has been in new line now. There are you can even add bullet points. For example, let's take section. Right, so by default, it's going to add one. So I'm going to delete it and subsection, section 2, section 2. Say called as section 1, right? Let's take subsection 2, 1, subsection 2, 2. I want to add one more level. Subsection 2, 1. You can see that you can add bullet points like this, right? This is the main section. There are two main sections, and there are subsections here. And subsection 22 has again another subsection, right? Subsection kind of. You can add documentation in this manner by using this, either headings or bullet points or text in this manner. Okay. So that's another shortcut. What else? Yeah, that's all. So if you have any questions, let me know on Jupyter Notebook, how to open it, how to create new one, how to open an existing one, how to change the title, and shortcuts related to Jupyter Notebook. Any questions? If you have any questions in between, so you can always unmute yourself, not to wait till I complete it. You can ask questions. And don't hesitate to ask questions. Otherwise, it will become another typical video course.
Damodar, actually, do you want us to install right away, or how can we proceed?
Not immediately, but after the session, the video will be shared to you by the institute.
Okay.
So just follow that. By tomorrow, try it and make sure that you complete it.
Oh,
And after the end, I think 2 or 3 sessions are going to be free sessions. After that, you need to enroll it. Then you will get Google Classroom invitation. So things are, I think I already shown to you, right?
yeah.
So yeah, so basically there are 2 kinds of Google Classroom invitations you get. One from me to share scripts, another one from Institute, wherein they will share access to videos. Follow it, and thereafter you will get WhatsApp group also. So in case if you get any issues, right, while installing or by following any of the videos, you can always escalate to us. You can post the error or whatever the issue that you are facing. We'll address that. Okay. Any other questions?
Actually, I joined today and I watched your yesterday's video, and
Okay.
I do have some questions related to basics. So can we go ahead
Yeah,
for
go
the
ahead.
questions at the end of session
No
or like
issues.
now?
No issues. Go ahead.
Okay. So actually, basically, I'm a senior Python developer right now leading the team, and I'm looking forward to explore some of the on the data as well as this AI side.
Okay.
So while completing this course, what how much part of data science or ML we are covering, and then on the top of Gen AI, or directly we are touching for the Gen AI with assuming that we know
Hmm.
the ML and data.
So
And
basically, yeah, so it includes machine learning and deep learning also.
okay,
Let me show you. So for
ETL
example,
process and all we are covering.
I didn't get your questions. Your voice is what? Your voice was breaking. Yeah.
ETL process and all we are covering here.
So ETL process, no, again, it's if it's related to generative AI, yes. If it's related to regression or machine learning or deep learning, yes. We have some 3 to 4 projects on data engineering also in cloud,
Okay,
GCP, Azure, and AWS. But this is
okay,
not data engineering course.
okay, okay,
Yeah. So our focus is not more on ETL. It's more related to generative AI. Of course, it requires some sort of ETL process, but it's not data engineering. So if you know, if you want to focus only on ETL, right course will be the data engineering. When it comes to the ETL process related to generative AI, yes, we will definitely have a detailed discussion about it. Because the
and
word ETL is a very vast. In fact, it involves a lot of things, right?
yes, 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 from collecting to loading the data. I
Yeah.
can understand. And one more thing, uh, as a practical exposure, the projects which we are covering,
Mm.
so we need to contribute somewhere on the open source, or we are just doing practice. And as I'm thinking about experience wise, so like
Mm.
you mentioned last yesterday's lecture that you will be in a position after 3 months that at
Mm.
least 2 year practical experience up to that coverage, the projects
Mm.
will cover you. So
Okay.
in that terms,
Basically, there are two things. One, the research projects, research and development projects. The other one is application support projects, right? There are two kinds of projects you can see it in IT. We will fall under
correct.
support. Support instance not just existing application support. We can even build applications or deploy applications. I mean to say APIs related to it. So we will fall under support, not research and development. Research and development requires even more in-depth knowledge, right? So if you know, this course is basically, to prepare you to get into support projects, support related projects, not in research and development. Of course, we will discuss things in depth. Let me give an example. Something that you might have not seen in online. Let's take ML internals, right? So in this case, there's something called gradient descent. Basically, if you take any model, so right, whether it is machine learning model or deep learning model, the whole idea of model is understanding the internal pattern of the data, right? Of the given data. Basically, when we say model, is in fact it's a function. When I say function, it will obviously have some parameters, right? There will be a lot of parameters. In fact, if you look at the Olama platform, you can clearly see the model, each model, and the number of parameters that it has. For example, let's take DeepSeek itself. We have 1.5 billion parameters. This B stands for billion, and 7 billion parameters, 8 billion, extended up to 671 billion parameters, right? The point is that how these models will be trained. Obviously, we will use frameworks. A lot of things under the hood we don't understand it, right? When it comes to this one, basically it prepares you to understand what will really happen under the hood by taking a simple algorithm. Here I have taken simple linear regression. We have only two parameters here, B0 and B1. By the end of this execution, right, this whole thing need to be prepared, you need to practice by taking pen and paper. So by end of this, you will understand how algorithms work under the hood. So we will discuss concepts in depth, but this course is not really for research and development. It's not something that you can build models from scratch. And moreover, it's very expensive. Preparing a model like this will cost you millions or even billions. So what you can do is, like, you can take these models, you can customize to your own data. There are ways to do it. And even in demo, I explain you that fine tuning is one of the ways to do it. The other one is RAG. And there are multiple ways to do it. So this course is basically to prepare you to get into support. And by the end of this course, you will get 2 years real-time experience. The reason why I said is that we will provide you templates. Whatever parts that we provide you, we will provide you in the form of templates, something that you can use it in production. With that confidence, we told you that you will get 2 years real-time experience. I hope that I answered your question.
Yes.
So any other questions?
Okay. So
Okay.
in a nutshell, at the end, at least.
The voice is not clear, so request you to change the microphone.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, it's better, much better. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So, in a nutshell, what I'm saying at the end of this course, I can expect that my generative AI model I will generate APIs for it. And after generating API, I will include that model in any of project.
Exactly. So basically, you're going to support web developers or mobile developers or desktop app developers. Something that they use the model and embed it in their application. Most of it, like, you're going to focus in preparing the APIs most of the time. But preparing apps is not your job. Even though we have options like Streamlight or Chainlight, to build a full-fledged application, but those are not going to production grade, right? So let me show you a simple example. Maybe you'll get an idea of what I'm speaking. So for example, let's take metrics. If you take this code, the whole idea is to prepare an API, right? And we can even test those APIs for single and batch inputs. This will not have any GUI as such. And we have projects with GUI too. Let me show you that one too. So for example, for a rack, right? Yeah. Has to open immediately. Looks like it's going to take some time to load the model. Here you can see that we got the URL, right? It will automatically get, you can see that we got the interface. This is user interface for this app. So can we deploy these apps in production? Obviously not, right? So by the end of this, basically we expose it in the form of API to developers, web developers. But this is only to demonstrate to those web developers or management. I hope you're getting the point, right? So real world projects, we prepare these APIs, not the apps. Apps, of course, we can build it, but those are not going to production grade, not secure enough, not robust enough, we can deploy it in production. But this will demonstrate what this app really about. And then we prepare API and deploy it. Who asked this question? Is that clear?
Yes. And
All right.
so we will use agents.
Again, the voice is breaking.
Again, we will
Yeah.
be learning agents as well.
Definitely. So agents and MCP also, MCP and A2A also.
Perfect. Thank you.
We have a couple of products on agentic AI, and we have a couple of products on MCP also. And it's not just, and we have products on RAG and CAG also. You might have heard RAG, retrieval augmented generation. You might have not heard CAG. In some case, you may not require to store this history permanently. In such case, in order to make things faster, we use cache. So that is an alternative version for RAG, the CAG. So we have products on CAG also. We have almost 10 to 15 products on generative AI itself. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So we'll move back to Python. I think we have completed all the shortcuts. All right. So we'll start Python basics. Right. We'll start with operators. And I'm not going to explain bitwise operators, which is not essential. We need to understand some part of bitwise operators in deep learning. Again, we will discuss that in deep learning, deep learning section. So for now, I'm going to focus on these operators, right? We'll start with arithmetic operators. So you can always refer these notebooks, but my recommendation is to open a new notebook and start following along with the video. Okay. So here we have arithmetic operators. Let's take addition, subtraction, and all. Let's take x equal to 5 and y equal to 3, x plus y. Basically, x and y are operands, and plus c is the addition operator, x plus y, right? So 5 plus 3 is 8. Same way we have subtraction, that is minus. Same way we have division, that is slash, right? And then basically the way it works is 3, 5, 3 1 3. The denominator is 2. Basically, it returns float value with decimals, right? So we need to add 0.30 here. So 3 6 18, right? So 3 6 18. Again, we get 2 0. We can keep on adding 0. So it's going to be keep on going, right? Usually in mathematics, we will represent this as 1.6 bar or 66 bar kind of, right? In in any programming language you take, it will have certain precision and it's going to be rounded out thereafter. So that's how we got this 1.66 something. Now we have something called modulo, which provides reminder. And see, we got 2. The reason why we got 2 is it's not going to return any float value as such. 5 3 1 3. The reminder is 2. So this is going to be reminder. This part we call it as quotient, that is provided by slash, whereas reminder is going to be provided by modulo operator, that is percentage. That is how we got this 2, right? And there's something called floor divisions. Before we get into floor division, we need to understand 2 things, floor and seal. I think it is better to understand with an example. For example, let's take, we have something called, let's take 8.9. The floor value is going to be 8.9 without decimal part. Seal value is going to be 8.9 without decimal plus 1. So it's going to be 9. So you take any value. For example, let's take 5.3. So the floor value is going to be 5.3 without decimal. The seal value 5.3 without decimal plus 1. It is not rounding. So rounding is different, right? Don't get confused with rounding. So for example, let's take 5.2. Rounding, if you round it, it's going to 5. 5.4, if you round it, it's going to 5. 5.5, if you round it, it's going to be 6. Right? Anything 0.5 or above 0.5 is going to be the next value without decimal plus 1. That is how rounding works. Whereas floor doesn't care really about what this decimal value is. Right? If it is 5.3 without decimal, that is floor value. If it is 5.3 without decimal plus 1. That's how it works. 6 here. So the floor division, basically what it gives is, if we take division, normal division, it gives 1.66 to something, right? What is the floor value of this? Without decimal, right? Without decimal. That's exactly what floor division does. So in order to get floor division, you need to use double slash. You can see 1. Isn't it? Right? So basically it gives the floor value of the actual division, the normal division. That's all. Multiplication, of course, we can use asterisk like any other programming language. Power off is basically we need to use double asterisk. Don't add any space in between. If you add any space in between these asterisks, it doesn't work. You need to use this double asterisk. There is an alternative way to get the power. There's a library called math dot. In fact, there are many libraries. Let's take that 5, 3, right? 5, 3. You get the same result. Of course, it might have written a float value. Here it is the, because these are integers, we got the integer. That's the only difference. Other than that, it is the same. The only difference is it will improve the readability here. And not to remember this. And moreover, especially those who are completely new to Python, they will have difficulty to read this. They may not know what these two asterisks are about. They may feel that it is by mistake they add two asterisks. They may remove it. Whereas here, it clearly shows that it's a mathematical operation. It is power. And moreover, if you want to read documentation of any method, you need to place cursor in between these round brackets. You can place it anywhere in these between round brackets. A shift tab. Shift tab will provide you the documentation. And one more thing, that any library, that any module that you import, so you can add alias. Okay, leave about alias. Dot, you can, if you press dot and then press tab, you can see it will give you the complete list of methods and properties that it supports. Right? So having, importing a module and utilizing the methods is much better than utilizing the core, concepts like this. This will improve readability, and we not to, reinvent the wheel. So you not to rewrite the code. Of course, we have to write the code. It's not something that we can completely avoid the coding part. But at least in most of the case, don't try to write things from scratch. Utilize modules that are completely open source and free. Right? So we're going to, discuss a lot of frameworks and libraries. I think I had given an overview yesterday. Let me show you that one. You can see that Python will start with Python, and then NumPy and Pandas will more NumPy and Pandas for data analysis, cleaning, pre-processing. Matplotlib will see on visualization, mathematics and statistics, of course. We need to understand prerequisites to understand AI better. PyTorch and TensorFlow, predominantly we use PyTorch for deep learning. Lang chain, lang graph, lang smith, we use it in generative AI. This is for version control, right? And this for vector databases. Some of the terms that I use here, you may not understand it, but by the end of the course, you will definitely understand it better. So don't worry if you don't understand any jargon that I use. Docker for microservices, and these are cloud related services. Okay. Any questions? Shall we move on to the next one? Comparison operators. All right, next one is comparison operators. Comparison operators always return either true or false. And moreover, Python is case sensitive. So you need to be careful with that. So this true that I have written here is not the same as this one, or maybe even this one. It's not the same. So it's case sensitive. So comparison operators always return Boolean values. So otherwise called otherwise we can Boolean values I mean to say is true or false. For example, let's take x. We already have x and y, right? And let me remove this part. Let's take x. We have 5 and y is 3. X is greater than x greater than y. So we got true because 5 greater than 3. Obviously, it is true, right? So it is true. Let's take x is less than y. 5 is definitely not less than 3, right? So we get false. Let's take we have alternate versions for x is greater than equal to. So when I say x is greater than or equal to, basically it's x 5 greater than 3 or 5 equal to 3. That is how it checks. So x is 5 and y is 3. So 5 greater than 3 or 5 equal to 3. This is basically shortcut notation, no, to this one. Just shortcut notation. So internally it is this is how it works. X is greater than y. Let me write. X is greater than y or x equal to y. Here in this case, x is 5 greater than 3 or 5 equal to 3. So when I say 5 greater than 3, which is true, or 5 equal to 3, which is false, 5 is not equal to 3, right? So in the case of OR, doesn't matter how many false we have. We have one true anywhere in between, not to be at the end, anywhere in between, it's going to be true. Whereas in the case of AND, doesn't matter how many true results we get returned, we have one false, it's going to be false. Of course, if everything is true, this is going to be true. In the case of OR, if everything is false, right? Obviously, it is going to be false. So I think here I have written, yeah. So that's how a greater than or equal to works. Let's take less than or equal to, right? So basically, the full form of this one is x is less than y or x equal to y. In this case, x is 5, 5 is less than 3 or 5 equal to 3. Again, so 5 is less than 3, which is false. 5 is not less than 3. And 5 equal to 3, again, it's a false. So even though we have OR here, we have all false here. So it's going to be false. That is the reason it returns false. Same way we have equal to we have seen it. Let's take x, right? X equal to y. So if you use single equal to, basically we are assigning this value to this variable. So don't use single equal to for comparison. So for comparison, you can use double equal to. In JavaScript, we have even three equals, right? So we don't have anything as such. So we have only two equals. 5 is equal to 3, obviously it is not true, right? 5 is not equal to 3, which is false. So it returns false. There's something called not equal to. Right? 5 is not equal to 3. So 5 is obviously not equal to 3. 5 is only equal to 5, right? Or 3 is equal to 3. But 5 is definitely not equal to 3. So it is true. It returns true. That's how comparison operators works. Any questions on arithmetic operators or comparison operators? All right, so we'll move on to the next one, logical operators. Let's take that, we'll take, I'll take another variable. Let's take 2. I want to write an expression, x is greater than y, and y is greater than z. So let's evaluate this expression. X is greater than y. X is 5, greater than 3, and y is 3, greater than 2. In fact, both are true, right? 5 is greater than 3, true. And 3 greater than 2. In fact, it's another true. So when we have and, when both are true, obviously, it's going to be true. So it returns true. The reason why we use these parentheses around it is there's something called PEDMAS. Parenthesis, exponent, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So parenthesis has higher precedence than any other. So that's the reason we use this parenthesis. If we don't use parenthesis, there will be a lot of confusion. The reason, again, we may not, always remember which one has more higher, more precedence than compared to the other one. So to avoid that confusion, we always write expression in round brackets so that this always has higher precedence, and this will be more clean. Okay. So the same way we have or here. So 5 greater than 3 or 3 greater than 2. In this case, it is or. True or true, obviously, it's going to be true. Let's try this one. So x is less than, y is less than z. 3 is less than 2, which is false, right? So obviously, when we have, in the case of or, even if you have one true, the whole equation will become true. Whereas in the case of and, so one is true, the other one is false, and here, so if you have one, at least one false, the whole equation will become false. So that's the reason we got false here. Same way we have not, so basically not of true is false. Not of false is true, simply flips, right? True to false, false to true. So if you have, if I write an expression, let's take y is less than z. Let's evaluate this expression. While not of y, basically it is 3 less than 2, and not 3 is not less than 2, right? So it's going to be false. But not of false is basically true. That's the reason we get 2 here. Okay. This somewhere else we will see this not also. Yeah, but comparison operators use this not. There is something else called this one. Okay, so we'll see this later then. Bitwise not also. In some case, we will use bitwise not too, especially in pandas. Any questions on logical operators? Bitwise operators, I'm going to skip it. So in deep learning, we're going to discuss this again. DEL basics. So we're going to discuss these logical gates and bitwise and right, those sort of things. Again, we'll have another discussion in deepening. So I'm going to skip that part for now. More to the next one, assignment operators. All right, so 652 now. If you have any other questions related to generative AI as a whole, let me know.
One thing, you're saying that, okay, mostly, no, we can able to do support work where we can integrate the existing, no, models into our application. That's
Right.
fine. But can we expect that uh, we we train these models with our own data? For example, each company or each project has
Right.
its own requirements.
I think,
No, we have to train the data, the model
Yeah.
with our own custom data.
Yeah.
So can we expect that we train these models with the no customized data
Yeah.
and no get that no get for the integration?
I think I already answered that question yesterday and today or two.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we spoke about fine tuning, right? Fine tuning is one of the ways to fine tune to your own customized data.
Okay. Then.
This is, in fact, this is fine tuning script, the one that you see here. So we are customizing to our own data, and the data that we are going to discuss here is let me show this one. Where is that? No, GeoShort classification. This one. Let me show you another script. This one, fine tune. So we're going to fine tune to our own data, and here the data is sample.csv. This is more related to so music related, kind of entertainment related, something that the model does not provide to us. So we can fine tune it. Fine tune is only one of the ways to do it. We have RAG, we have CAG. There are a lot of alternatives to do that. So to customize your own private data.
Got it.
Just by utilizing the models doesn't really need, no in-depth knowledge about generative AI, in fact. Right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions? All right. So we have another session, another free session tomorrow too, 6 a.m. IST. So if you have any questions, note it down and you can ask questions tomorrow, right? I mean to say, if you don't have questions immediately, so note it down in a notepad and you can ask questions.
Tomorrow is Saturday, so do we have sessions on weekends as well?
We don't have sessions on weekends. Sorry, it's Friday, right? Okay. So we'll have our next session on Monday, coming Monday.
All right.
Yeah, any other questions on the topics that we discussed today or on generative AI or machine learning or deep learning? Okay, so let me, I think yesterday I haven't discussed about this. So let me give you a brief idea like how the model really works, right? So for example, let's take 2, 4, 6, 8. The next value we can easily predict it as 10 based on the pattern of the data, right? If you take the position, let's take first position, second position, third position, fourth position, and this one, right? Fifth position. Based on this, we can predict any, let's say, 256th position value I need. I may not know this value. So based on this data, the pattern that it is in, we can come up with a formula like 2 into position. Let's take if we have something like 3, 6, 9, 12. Let's take I need some 158th position value. Right? We can easily say that by this data, the data is in 3 multiple position. Right? Basically, we are trying to derive a formula. Of course, we can expose this, in the form of function when it comes to any program language you take. But here we come up with a formula that explains the pattern in the data so that we can find out any unknown or values. Here, the unknown value is 158th position. For example, 3 multiplied by 158 is going to be how much? 3 is 24, 15, 17, 3 1 3, 4, right? 474. So with this formula, we can find it out. Here we have a simple data, in fact. Let me take a more let's take this one. Okay. So or maybe I will take another sheet. If we have something like input call, and the target something that we have to find out. First position we have 2, second position we have 4, third position we have 6, and we come up with a formula to multiple position. So based on the data, we can come up with some formula. Whereas if we have something like this, right? Have this many input columns. We have somewhere around 4 input columns. And we already got the target value, something that we have to predict it. So to find out the pattern in the data. So based on this, we need to come up with some formula, something that makes it very complex. If we have a simple set of data like this, we can manually do that. Whereas this one requires, algorithms or neural networks. Again, neural networks, there are variations to it. In algorithms, we have not just one, we have many, tons of machine learning algorithms to find out the internal pattern. So a lot of people will have this confusion. What is a model, right? So model is nothing but a formula, a function. Basically, in layman terms, it's an internal pattern in the given data. So from data to data, it obviously changes. We have a lot of good platforms, wherein we can get open source models, something that someone else trained it and provide to us. But a lot of these models, we can't directly use it, especially on private data. Right? This is Hugging Face. This is Olama. Again, we need to fine tune to our own data. Or we can apply RAG, especially if it is too dynamic in nature. I mean, the changes are too dynamic. New files are keep on coming for every 1 hour. Obviously, we can't go for fine tuning. We have to better go for RAG or CAG. Now to build communication, we use MCP. You might have heard this model context protocol, right? So if you have too many things, want to communicate to each of these, build communication between these components, then we need MCP. So Anthropic released this MCP, which is nothing but a protocol. You might have heard TCP or HTTP kind of, right? Basically for communication. Same way, some standard communication. The same way we have MCP in GenAI. And Google has introduced A to A. Basically, this is to have communication between agent to agent. In agentic AI, we use this. Okay. Any questions?
Where can we get the recording link, Damodar?
I think you need to contact the institute.
Okay. Is there in
And
the site, no? I think there are 2 free sessions there in the site. The same?
I have no idea about
Okay.
the video access. So maybe
Okay.
I think they will share you the link in the WhatsApp community.
Okay. Cool. Great.
When it comes to scripts, of course, I will provide it. I forgot to provide this Python zip. Maybe tomorrow I will provide to you.
Because the environment variable, no, we need to know.
Yeah, I will provide you that for Conda environment variables and Python files in zip format. Tomorrow is Saturday, right? I keep on. Okay, let me 1 second. Let me share those Python scripts and the Conda variables also. I'm going to post it in chat.
Yeah.
This is for Python. So you can download it, and let me share the Conda environment variables also. So make sure you follow the instruction. Don't try to make any changes to the path while installing Anaconda. Stick to the default path. Otherwise, you need to change this. Where is that? Yeah, here it's right, chart. Otherwise, you need to change this, the default, the path, the core path here, if you install it somewhere else. So stick to the default path and add these variables. I mean, add these paths to environment variables. Right? Any other questions? And try to make it as interactive as possible. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. You can immediately unmute yourself and ask questions. And make sure that you have a good microphone. Okay? And broadband, of course. Yeah, Teja, Omkar, and Nitesh, any questions? All right, so we'll meet on coming Monday, same time, 6 a.m. IST. Thanks for joining. And I will provide my WhatsApp number also, so in case if you need it, you can post your questions. It's 936109197.